and I have no idea what to do next. And so I'm in my company car and I pull over on the side of the road at the top of the Santa Cruz Mountains, at the top of Bear Creek Road, to pray.
What is going on, Sal? I was born to be a speaker. I've spoken my whole life, and here I am, a 30-year-old woman lying on my bed, not being able to make a sound. What is going on? And I recalled myself to me and took a really deep breath. And as I exhaled on that bed, I felt that rising of the phoenix.
Sometimes you have to look at things from a different perspective. And because I've seen and experienced a lot of different angles, I'm able to help you and to mentor you. And that's what lights me up. And I feel that's why God spared my life, was to be able to pay forward these lessons. And I take that seriously, but it truly lights me up.
Welcome to the Health Conscious Living Podcast. I'm Dr. Gayle Myers, and my special guest today is Regan Caruthers. She is a spiritual teacher, writer, and founder of Asset Yoga Center. Her new memoir, recently published, Tragic Magic, is a testament to the power of unconditional love, forgiveness, and the discipline required to live a life from an unconditional loving heart. Tell us, how did that transform you as a person and then you as an executive?
I don't know. It becomes the thing, the energy, if you will, that you return to. And while I lack discipline, as a single mother and an executive, spending 4 hours in the car driving to San Francisco from south of Santa Cruz, I don't know. It would be something I would drop myself back into. So as I commuted, for example, that was time for heart-centered meditation, even though I still had to be, alert to the crazy commute conditions of the Bay Area. But I would find ways to be in my heart and kind of in that inner well of resource. And it helped a lot. And I was able to use my intuition and my knowledge of just how to work with energy to make things happen at work, probably faster than if I hadn't had that awareness. I mean, there's a moment in the book where I share, it's, one of those moments, choice points in my career. And I know I have to leave this big, safe company called McGraw-Hill. It's just time. And I have no idea what to do next. And so I'm in my company car and I pull over on the side of the road at the top of the Santa Cruz Mountains, at the top of Bear Creek Road, to pray and to meditate, and there was barely a shoulder on the road at the time that I chose this, but I just closed my eyes and connected to my breath through my heart and accessed divine love, just the energy of that, and asked what's in my highest to do next. And I got an immediate answer to call a certain person that was a client of mine. He was an executive in the state of California higher education system. And I come out of meditation, I check my phone to see if I have enough bars to make a phone call. And I call him and I told him the truth. I said, Jerry, I just pulled over on the side of the road and I prayed and I meditated because I know I need to leave McGraw. And I asked what I should do next, what's in my highest to do. And the guidance was call Jerry Hanley. And I told him exactly what I thought I could do for him, and he said, well, Regan, you're exactly right. Write your job description and I'll post it. So that's a kind of a very concrete example of using a spiritual practice for a business, aim. And I worked for the leadership of the Cal State system then for the next 6 years. So yeah, it's just, you just keep returning. And some days are easier than others.
I'm excited to meet you and have you as a guest and share your beautiful story. So thanks again, Regan. And today, my special guest is Sally Prosser. Sally is a holistic voice and public speaking coach. She is the host of That Voice podcast, top rated, and the founder of Soul Speakers. For the last 20 years, she has helped hundreds of people love their voice, speak with confidence, and land their message. And it's how we learn, it's how we communicate. And it's true, when you really speak your story from your soul, that resonance is so clear versus speaking a story of who we think we're supposed to be, but we're not.
Absolutely. Yeah. A big turning point in my life was learning the difference between speaking with confidence and speaking my truth. You know, before that, people would say, "I'll speak your truth." And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I'm not going around telling lies every day. What does this speaking your truth mean? And I discovered that I was in my early 30s and I was a television news reporter. So by all accounts, a very confident speaker with the microphone, on the camera, telling stories, broadcasting. Yet I was in a relationship at the time where I didn't have a voice. I was walking on eggshells. I was being led to believe things that weren't true. There was lots of fear of speaking up, lots of lies, to the point where I didn't even know what the lie was. So this man, you know, among many other things, told me he was a doctor, yet there was no evidence that he was. And I dated him in secret from my family for about 6 months because I was too ashamed to admit to myself, probably as well, but too ashamed that I was with him. So I kept that secret. And you know me, Gayle, I am such an open book, probably to my detriment at times. But, you know, I'm such a free-flowing person. So it was a real stifling of my spirit to just have this secret, and, you know, you don't know what you've told people. And it was just such an oppressive place to be in. And there was one night when it all came to a bit of a head. He was getting a little bit aggressive and violent from drinking, and I was chased into the room and I was lying on the bed, completely paralyzed. They say, is it fight or flight? Almost felt like I had been pinned to the bed. So much fear and this weight of secrecy and guilt and shame and anger. It was in my body. I could feel it. And that's when I remembered who I truly was. I had that memory of, what is going on, Sal? I was born to be a speaker. I've spoken my whole life, and here I am, a 30-year-old woman lying on my bed, not being able to make a sound. What is going on? And I recalled myself to me. Gayle, you know what I'm talking about here. It's you were one of the people that helped me understand what I was doing. I was calling myself back to me, probably saying hello to my soul would be the way that I would describe it now. Not that I knew that vocabulary at the time. And took a really deep breath. And as I exhaled on that bed, I felt that rising of the phoenix. You know, I felt those emotions release. And that was the moment when I had that embodiment, that realization of, this is it. This is the difference between speaking your truth and speaking with confidence. And I made that decision in that moment to make it my life's mission to help others find that fire in their belly, find that voice inside, and be able to express themselves. And even though it took a couple of years from that actual moment on the bed for the business to begin, you know, these things always have a process. I would link it back to that night where I made that decision. And that's why now in my work, of course, I can teach you about voice warm-ups and articulation and how to stand and what to do with your hands. Of course I can. That's just one part. There's so much more to your voice. And when we can tap into that authentic voice and you can feel that freedom in the channel, that's when so many of those surface level things, you don't need to learn the tactics because they come from within you naturally.
Thank you so much for this today. It's wonderful. And my special guest today is Jennifer Pressimone. Jennifer is an internationally recognized expert in the field of holistic aromatherapy and personal development. She's the CEO at Jenn Sense and Jenn Sense Aromaversity. She is the regional director and vice president of the National Association for the Holistic Aromatherapy. And she is the MC and presenter this year in 2025 for the Holistic Aromatherapy World Aromatics Conference. And so as you were talking about all this, I was thinking about how your journey that started with the Crohn's and the near death, prognosis turned all of this around for you, so that you turned it around so that you could come today and be here. So you teach others, right? You teach others how to help people with this. So you have a school. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, throughout the journey, I know for me, I had to find things. And I was, I had an education. And so I had a lot of resources, and there were resources that came to me. But then as I was helping customers and clients, not everybody had access to those kind of resources. And that's how the school was built. And so when I would learn something, I knew, even going through the Crohn's and the near-death experience, I know I went through that so I could help others. I know in this lifetime that God is giving me firsthand experience, because that's how I'm going to connect with others on such a deep empathetic level of, I've been in your shoes. I know exactly what I had to do, what I was feeling and thinking, and what I had to do to get here. And so when I learn something or when I go through something, I teach it. And, over the years, I've taught thousands and thousands of people at a ton of different conferences, and seminars across the world. And I love that. So I've created an online school where you can get certified in aromatherapy. And my school is different because I took a journey. I had to start with understanding the body. I had to understand the physical body, how it works, what happens when it's broken. And then we layer on the psychological side of, there's emotions that get harbored in different parts of the body and reasons why that happens. And then we expand on that. Because I'm also a holistic health practitioner. And so helping people, herbally and through holistic lifestyle, and bringing in different holistic modalities is really important to have this well-rounded plan. And so I've fused all that together in the program. So I have people that get certified to become aromatherapist. You can become like me. So I'm trying to take everything out of my brain, all of the lessons, all of the learning, from the science side, from the knowledge side, but also from the psychospiritual side and the intuitive side. One of my favorite programs right now is my aromatherapy intuitive program, where I'm teaching you how to expand your inner knowing like I did, and bring in aromatherapy as your medium to do that. And then I have master classes. So some people are like, I'm not ready to go a whole certification. I don't know. I just need to get my feet wet right now. I just want to learn one or two things. I have master classes where we talk about just niche topics. So I love teaching because I think knowledge is power. And when you have the right knowledge, but matched up with the right skills, that's so important, because then you know how to do that. And I mentor all of my students. I've had mentors. I know as much as I know. I was able to heal myself and help heal others, because you can't do it alone. We have to ask for help. And I love to mentor people. So, sometimes we think a certain way, but my job is just to say, you know what, that's great. You're thinking in the right direction, but let's take one step to the left or right. And let's just look at this from a different perspective, right? It's like when you're working and you're fixated on something and it's not working, you walk away and you come back 5 minutes later and you're like, oh, okay, that fixed it. Sometimes you have to look at things from a different perspective. And because I've seen and experienced a lot of different angles, I'm able to help you and to mentor you. And that's what lights me up. And I feel that's why God spared my life, was to be able to pay forward these lessons. And I take that seriously, but it truly lights me up. It fills my heart. And I know this is my purpose, and I love leading with my purpose.
Thank you. Amazing. The other thing is you make the scents, you make all the blends yourself. So I just want to restate that.
I do. I do the scent reading, and we use the scent energetics, and I make everything personally.
So thank you, Jenn. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. If you would like to work with me for more insight, go to my website and book a private session. And check out my latest transformational meditation. Have a blessed day.